Alright, so, I'm going to be doing my review of Gundam Requiem of Vengeance. This is the first time I've talked about Gundam on this channel. Well, I have talked about, like, John Voight Roberts' live-action Gundam movie, which is still in production. But the reason why I wanted to talk about this Gundam series is because it had an interesting premise, and also it was like 6 episodes long. And yes, I'm well aware that there are other shows that on Netflix that I need to catch up on and do reviews of, such as Tomb Raider. A few episodes in on that, and I still need to watch the new season of Jurassic World Chaos Theory. The reason why I decided to watch this first was because it was only like 6 episodes long, and while the other's like 8-10 episodes long, I gotta commit time to those. You know, I gotta commit some time. But like 6 episodes, I was like, you know what? I can do that. So here we are with my review of Requiem of Vengeance, a Gundam anime that basically has been like pretty polarizing. Not really. It's kind of unanimous as to how everyone feels about this. But let's talk about it anyway. So, the story of this anime is basically pretty forward. It's an actually really unique idea. It basically is set about the 1-year war. It was the thing that more or less kicked off everything that happened in the original Gundam Wing series, where the 1-year war was the Principality of Zeon invading Earth to declare its own independence from the Federation. Of course, Zeon lost horribly, and they escaped, and then went on to fight in a more bigger contest. Now, it is an interesting idea. It really is a fascinating concept of having a show that's focused on the bad guys, then kind of makes you feel bad for Zeon. And yes, Zeon had a little more complexity in the original Gundam Wing anime than just we're the bad guys. But at the same time, as you watch these soldiers like fight and die and talk about independence and, you know, freedoms of one's person, I'm like, you guys did some really horrible shit in the anime, if I recall. It's been a while since I've seen Gundam Wing, the original Gundam anime, but I'm like sitting here going, there isn't a lot I remember from that show, because it's been a while since I've watched it, but like at the same time, I'm like, y'all did some really horrible things. I remember you got, like, Zeon did a lot of pretty bad things. I mean, the Federation did too, and that was the point of the anime, where it was, like, talking about, like, the horrors of war and child soldiers, and it does kind of go into that in this anime. But here, it's like, I'm kind of sitting here going, you guys aren't totally blameless. You guys did some really horrendous shit too. But like I said, in theory, it's a good idea. In theory, communism worked. In theory. So, like I said, this is basically chronicles the end days of the 1-year war. And Zeon had basically been invading Earth, and we follow the group, a group called the Red Wolves, a group of Zaku units, Zaku pilots, who have been battling the forces of the Federation, and then in comes the Gundam to battle against the forces and turn the tide. The Gundam in here, I really like this idea of having it be like boots on the ground kind of soldiers fighting against this this unstoppable force. What I really like is how they treat the Gundam throughout this anime, where the Gundam is more or less treated as this huge fucking slasher. He's like almost like a Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers of mechs. And I really like that idea of like every soldier is an enemy in their own, every soldier's a hero to their own army and vice versa. There's a lot of cool ideas, but the problem is with 6 episodes, which by the way, I really do feel like this anime was meant to be one big movie. That it's kind of like that 4-part anime called Infinite Darkness, that Resident Evil movie, quote-unquote miniseries. I'm sure Resident Evil Infinite Darkness was meant to be an anime movie, but they cut it down to 4 episodes. This, I feel like, was meant to be... This Gundam Requiem of Vengeance anime was meant to be one big movie, but they cut it down to 6 episodes. Why? I couldn't tell you. So, yeah. I do like that kind of take, again, going back to like what I was saying. But I will say that, at least to me, that's what it felt like. That it was meant to be one big movie, but they cut it down to a 6-episode binge, which feels weird. I could be wrong, but that's what I feel like is that meant to be a movie. But yeah, again, the story is what really intrigued me of making it the 1-year war and focusing on the fall of like basically the fall, like the fall of Zeon, the first fall of Zeon, and focusing on the soldiers on the ground. Something I wish more shows would do. It's a really ambitious idea, but ambition can sometimes be bigger than the actual execution. So let's talk about that. Yeah, like I said, let's talk about that. The animation in here ranges from, oh my god, that's really cool, and holy shit, what happened? The human especially, let's talk about the human animation. I think that's what a lot of people are going to be harping on about, is the human animation in this series, where like, it is, like, sometimes when it's just humans standing still and talking, there are points where it's like, okay, I see the animation. Other times, there's, like, walk cycles that look like something out of a goddamn PS1 animation. And maybe that's a little insulting to PS1 animation. Bandai Namco, when it comes to Bandai's, like, animation department, it really ranges from, that was really good, to, what the fuck were you thinking releasing it this soon? And guess where this one falls? Because the Gundam action, while some of the physics are a little off, I really liked when it actually is talking about the Gundam animation and, you know, propelling the story through action is really well done. Do I think some of the physics in the anime is a little different from what we saw in the actual anime, this anime, than the actual anime? Yeah. But it really kind of showcases, like, I really like that kind of form of mech battle, where it's like, you feel the weight of these machines throughout the series. So, I know it's not, like, going all over bizarre fight shit. It's more like boots on the ground kind of brutal combat, and how these, probably a lot of these units, like Zaku's, would probably fight in real life. I say probably because this is still science fiction. But again, the human animation and the writing, holy dog shit, is it bad. Like, there's a moment where, like, one character is talking to our main character, Captain Solari, who is pretty boring. I'm not gonna lie, she's pretty boring. The only thing is, like, I have to see my son again. And they don't really go into her life, although they do kind of allude that she's the mother of a character from Gundam. I'm not gonna say who, but you probably figure it out pretty fast as to who she's the mother of, as to which character she's the mother of in the anime. But yeah, the writing in here ranges from, someone needed to proofread this shit. They really did. I'm sorry, but, a lot of this show is, It's very much like a Todd McFarlane book. It's like a Todd McFarlane Spawn comic, where it's animation in pictures over story. That's what it really feels like. They do try to go into morality of war and, you know, child soldiers and whatnot, but they did not have either the time or the right writers to pull that off, because holy dog shit, they didn't nail the landing, so to speak. They didn't nail the landing at all with that. And that's what really, like, hurts this anime. I think the action is very well done. The characters and animation and the story itself is pretty bad. Because this is, like, the idea of this show, set during the final days of the One-Year War, the showcase of the Gundam, following Zeon's perspective, it's all cool. But the execution is just so bad, is just so misplaced. Yeah, the Gundam action itself is pretty solid, but, like, for the most part, yeah, there was points where I'm like, I just want to get this over, especially at the end. All in all, the idea is there, and it's a cool idea. It's just they should have kept this in the oven a little longer. Maybe that would have helped. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of Gundam Requiem of Vengeance? Did you guys like it, hate it? Comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.